You see Superman, and then Superman 2 comes out. How can Superman 2 possibly be better than Superman 1? I was around 14 years old when I first started testing Leisure Suit Larry 1. As a matter of fact, I had to ask my mother the answers to the age verification questions. The only one I remember was who is Nixon's vice president. I've spent 15 years working at Sierra, first as a beta tester since 1984, and then after college I went to work for them in quality assurance and then slowly rose up the ranks. So all of those properties have a very, very special place in my heart. And I've been trying to get the rights to any of the Sierra properties. It just so happened that the rights to Leisure Suit Larry were available because they were transferred to Codemasters. We struck a deal. Kickstarter is a great way to find out if there's a market for your product. And in our case, we had to, because none of the investment groups, whether it be VC, angel, or individual investors, wanted to invest in a game which they thought was about sex. I spoke to Brian Fargo when he first started Wasteland, and I said, why are you going to Kickstarter? I said, you have all this money from Interplay, the IPO and everything else, why are you going to Kickstarter? And he said, we don't know if the game's going to fly or not. And it's a good way to let people vote with their pockets. And if they want it, then they'll pay for it. If they don't want it, then we shouldn't make it. And whether or not the game is going to fly based on how much revenue or how many donations you pull in via Kickstarter. So it's good that we have that core base, but it's a core base of 14,000 people, and we consider them they're all pre-orders, right? With, on top of that, they get all these various rewards. But a really interesting problem that we have, we're in the middle of solving it, but a really interesting problem that we have is that we had an expo at South by Southwest Gaming, and we had a booth, and 9 out of 10 people that came up that saw Leisure Suit Larry didn't know that a new version of Leisure Suit Larry is coming out. The world does not know about Leisure Suit Larry, and I know we have millions and millions of fans, but only a certain very small percentage of them know that we did a Kickstarter and know that it's coming out. We had developed a one-room demo for Leisure Suit Larry for the Kickstarter, and this developer approached us and said, we want to make we want to do the remake of Leisure Suit Larry. And they did a great one-room demo, and that's what we showed to the Kickstarter backers and said, this is going to be the developer, this is the one-room demo. What wound up happening was, after we closed the round, we had gone to Tel Aviv to meet this developer, and there was no company there. There was a company but no employees, no experience, nobody had worked together on a project before. The producer had never produced a game. And we were stuck, and we didn't know what to do. And one of my board members said, it comes down to this one question, Paul. Do you want to bet your company on this team? Because this game is going to either make or break replay games. And I said, you know what, I can't, because, there's nothing there. So we had to be transparent about it with our backers, because they're the ones that enabled us to get this far, and it was very difficult because there was some backlash, because they felt like we had sold them something that was fake. For like the next 2 months, I saw comments and posts of how we ditched our original development team. But in the updates that we were trying to be as politically correct as possible without slamming, the developer in Tel Aviv. But we wanted everybody to know what really happened and that we really didn't dupe them. If we don't have to go back to Kickstarter, I don't think I want to. And I know a lot of people are doing it, and it's a great way, OPM, right? Use other people's money. And that way, the development doesn't have to come out of your own pocket. I'd rather not. I would rather use the proceeds from our previous games to make the next version, and that way there's no reporting to 14,000 investors, and we can take as long as we want to make the game. Replay Games is 100% privately owned. I invested about $250,000 of my own money that I sold from my last company into it. So if we make enough money on Leisure Suit Larry 1, and I don't have to go back to Kickstarter or Indiegogo, we may not.